Okay. So, I'm back. I did notice that I had. I'm so sorry. I had two messages, and it appears that the chat on the web browser was not showing them, but in the uh, in the chat for OBS, it was there. RevenuCat is awesome. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm back. Hopefully, it just restarted for you if you were watching it, not um, you weren't kicked off and then that was it, and then you have to find it again. Um, that would suck. I'm still working out how this, like, trying to figure out how this works. But I really want to put like a split in the stream so that the first video was the introduction and an overview of the app, and then this one is all about development. Okay, so yeah, let's go with it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is we are going to pop open. Oh yeah, we better switch to Xcode, and let me just check, make sure the quality is okay. Yep, cool. So what we're going to do is take a look at the subscription screen. Where is that? Store. I've called it store. There we go. So what I want to do is pull out the subscription title view and put that into its own. So I just Command X on that, remove it, do a little bit of a cleanup, and then we create a new one. Let me just double check and make sure that okay, cool. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like opening Finder or whatever. So we can go next. I will type in I can't remember the name of it now. Let's go subscription tile. Oh, it's tile, not title. Subscription tile. Excellent. And then in here, we'll import SwiftUI and then paste that in, subscription tile. And that was the row in the subscription screen. So I don't know if I can show that to you now. I might be able to pop this open and no. So the app hasn't. I did it. I said an hour, right? So at the moment, I've got it set up so that the subscription expires within an hour, not 3 months, so we can do some testing. And it hasn't been an hour since I've made the purchase. Anyway, so another question you might have is like, when the subscriptions expires, what, like, can you continue pressing these and use them? Yes, at the moment, yes. So if these sound effects have been added and your subscription expires, you can still use everything that's within the app. And for the moment, I'm okay with that. So theoretically, like, someone could create a campaign. I've got an itchy. The beanie is itchy. Someone can create a campaign, fill it with all the scenes that they're ever going to need, pay that subscription to do so, and then let it expire, or do the trial and then cancel the subscription, get a refund, and then they can just use the app as is, right? With all the sound effects added, with all the music they want to add added, and that's kind of like, I mean, that's cheating, but I'm not going to pull people up on that. I'll try and work around a little bit, but I'm okay with it. Like, it's fine. I'm not trying to like take people's money. All I want is enough. My main goal is to earn enough off this app so that I can maybe do it full time, right? I'm talking like 10,000 a month, maybe, to support 2 people, maybe. But yeah, so it's not even. I don't need that many subscribers to get to that point. Getting the first number of subscribers to get that point is very difficult, though. So that's a different conversation to have later. If you want to ask any questions about that, feel free. But StoreKit. And so anytime like I write code and Xcode's like being a little bit funny, I'll just do Command B to do a build to force it, because sometimes it won't do its background compilation. at least like everyone, no one else seems to have a problem with it, just me. So, I mean, it's frustrating that that's the thing. Store product. I think this might actually be part of RevenuCat. Do another build. Excellent. Errors are gone. You saw none of that because I did not switch to Xcode. So, so anyway, what I've done is I've thrown in this, pulled out this subscription tile struct because I'm done with it. It's finished. I'm happy with how it looks. It was inside the picker view, but I've moved it out to just make things a little bit cleaner. These subscription entitlements and stuff. These are the things that paying a subscription unlocks, and I've split them into different entitlements. So instead of saying like one of these and saying pro version, you unlock everything, I've got it set up now so that it's like a couple of different ones, because I may change the subscription purchase options in the future, right? So I might move things around. I might be like, okay, this is unlocked with a single purchase now, not a subscription. I may add more, right? Different tiers of subscription levels. I might be like, oh, you want to be on the entry level, you get access to all of these. But if you want to get more pro features in the future, I might add a new case here, which would be the pro features and only unlocked under certain conditions. So that's why I've got those split up that way. The thing with in-app purchases is it's really difficult to, like, you have to future-proof as much as you can, because what you don't want to have is people paying for like something, they buy the app outright and then you just go ahead and change it. There's so many complaints on the App Store in the comments where it's like, I paid $10 for this app and now you're making it a subscription service. It's like $20 a month. This is crap. I paid for this. I should be able to use it. And I think those people are correct. Like, I know business has got to make money, but like, you sold it for a particular price. If you wanted to change the pricing structure, make a new app, right? Don't keep the old app up there. Let people continue using version whatever was the last one released, but create a new app with the subscription. Don't remove the once-off payment and then add a subscription, because that's bullshit. I hate it when other companies do that stuff. Just create a new one. I also hate when other companies use that tactic, like to make you keep paying for the same game. So like I think Hasbro did that with Monopoly, right? Years ago, Monopoly came out on the iPad, and they're like, okay, yeah, it's like $3 or whatever, buy it outright. And then a year later, it's like it's the same game, but they put it under a different bundle ID or something, re-upload it, and it's like, I can't download it anymore. I've formatted my iPad and I'll go to download again. It's like, oh no, you need to purchase it. It's like, I already purchased it. What's going on? No, the company takes down the old one, creates a new version of the app, puts a price on it, forces people to buy it again. And I think this is something that they used to do before subscriptions were a thing, and it's something that the companies are still doing now, which is just, it's annoying. It's annoying, right? Like, I'm trying to avoid that. So you need to future-proof the payment system in your app. So that's why I'm going with, it takes me 2 minutes to add these in and then just account for these features. Like, it's fine. And then elsewhere in my code, I'll go, can we add sound effects? If this flag is set to true, then we'll let the user add sound effects. Rather than, is the user pro, let's let them add sound effects. Right? So that's the theory behind this. Things will still happen in the future where I'll probably have to break stuff for some users, but I'm doing my best to avoid doing that. That was long-winded, but I think it was worth talking about because we hate what other companies are doing. I'm trying to avoid that. As a user, I know what I don't like. And as a developer, I don't want to put other people through the things that they don't like. So, further cleanup in this file is probably unnecessary. Like, I can maybe create an extensions file for, the store product, this custom imp. Let's do it. Why not? So we got store product. We need formatted monthly price. So what I like to do when I create a new extension is We got store products. I add a plus. This is like old style categories and things like that we had in Objective-C. So we got store product, and what was it? Format month. I'm just gonna call it format. Oh yeah, format monthly price. Let's just go with that. And we go create. We'll go back, and I'll rip that out, and I'll chuck that in store product. And we need to import RevenuCat for this. And there we go. How do I... Okay, now I've got this. All right, excellent. So... yeah, so the next one is we go back a screen. And what we'll do is we'll do the same for this custom info. Custom info is subscribed. So extensions again, new file, custom info, customer info, info, plus is subscribed. And you might think, oh, there's so many, or it's really hard to type and talk at the same time. So you might think, oh, why create a whole file for just this like little bit of code? Because I'm not going to touch this again. Right? I may add more in here on customer info, but I might create another file for that, depending on its purpose. But I'm not going to touch this again. This is hidden away. I don't want to see it. If I'm not going to touch it, I don't want to see it. But I will probably be in the subscription picker view again in the future at some point. So when I'm... see, even this is too much code for me, right? So what I would like to do is break out this legal view into a new file, because I don't want to look at that again either. And I think by the looks of things, everything in here appears to be standalone. So we've got shared, but this is all a singleton, right? So, excuse me, theoretically, I should be able to just do the exact same thing here, right? We go struct, we go store legal view, and that's a view. We want to add this to the, oops, every time that gets me, body. And instead of this var, we'll just go the vstack. I select all, I control I to re-indent. Control I is re-indent. And then because this is like a read-only, like nothing needs to come in here. We've just got store legal view set up. Let's cut that out, and we'll go to the store views, new file, and we'll create it. Store legal view. And then in here we go SwiftUI, and we put that in, and we just do a quick build and see what's going on. Okay, purchases. So we go import, and we go, I think it's RevenuCat as the purchases API. There we go. And up here we've got this thing where it's like, oh no, can't find it anymore. That's because I removed it. And we just go store legal view, and we've just removed all that code somewhere else. I might touch that again, but it's hidden away. So the next section, so we got store content, and I guess what I might do, it seems a bit weird how I've got this kind of thing set up, right? I feel like maybe this could be part of that. So if we go back to, oh, I don't think I can show you. Yeah, we still haven't had the subscription timeout yet, so we're just waiting on that. So this text, I feel like it could be embedded inside this store legal view to clean things up even further, but let's just take a look at something else here. We've got the continue button. So all of this could be split out into another view if I want to go that path. And then all I would have in here is a VStack of like view 1, view 2, view 3, and then this would be like really concise and short. This whole thing here, this text, like let's take this out, right? So let's go, this will be the header. We got title text here. That's going to be frustrating. We've got title text here. Yeah, let's move all this out into a new file. So what I want to do is remove this because that's not needed there. I'll throw this down here so I can grab it all at once and store title view. That doesn't exist, but it will, right? So let's go over here and we'll go store title view, new file, store title view, import SwiftUI, struct store title view, and that will make the compiler happy, body. And then what I can do is remove this, put that there, clean this up. And because nothing is interactive here, like we don't have any bindings going back to the previous view or anything like that, this should just work. And it does. We get it builds fine, and it's complete. We just hid away all that code as well. Payments unavailable view. This looks like something that can be replaced as well. So let's do that. We go store. I'm using store and then subscription. It's kind of slightly annoying me that I've got store and subscription used interchangeably. But subscription picker view makes sense because you're choosing a subscription. You're not choosing a store. Subscription tile makes sense because it's representing the subscription. And the store legal view makes sense. It makes sense to be a store because it's like, this is you're making a purchase on a store. It's separate to a subscription. So, okay, anyway, where was I? So we've got store unavailable view. Yeah. I think that's how you spell it. Import SwiftUI, struct store unavailable view is a view. Body. Yes, give me, yep, body. And then we get rid of this. We don't need that. Again, Command A, Control I. Just reindents everything. And I need to copy this because I don't have it here. And if we go build, it's going to take me to the line that is broken. Let me just chuck that in. And that's done. So we've just shortened this up again. Now, I don't remember what the number of lines were originally. Well, I guess we can figure it out, right? Keep going. There we go. So originally we had 265 lines of code in here. And now we have 133. Yeah, so we just dropped over 100 lines of code. And this, to me, is far more readable than it was before. Even then, I feel like could use some more work, right? Like all these overlays and stuff. We've got the store content. See, once you start having to break stuff out into different variables, like different views, that's a good indicator of maybe they should be in different files. Okay. The only reason why you would keep them in here is because it is if they reference something at like a property up here. But you can always pass those through, right? You can pass those through, so it's fine. It just depends how much more work you want to do. I don't really want to pass through. Do I want to? No. Because eventually there'll be just nothing in here. This is the content of the store. We've got store content. What I could do now that I've cleaned this up is move everything in here. Right? Store content. And just chuck it back in here. All right, that sort of makes a little bit more sense now. or at least to me anyway. And then this on appear stuff, this could be moved into a function, right? So we can clean that up, and you can say a private function, right? So that it's a struct with a view. No one's going to call function on it anyway, but it's good practice to have this private function. Set this up. Let's go private function. Oh yeah, we want to, let's just call it load, right? Load payments, load store, load subscriptions, load products. Yeah, cool products. There we go. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's done. I think that's about as much cleanup as I want to go for. So fix legal bottom text. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm talking about there. And let's just see if we can. Let's do a rebuild and see if we can get this subscription to expire. What can I do with the? Can I do anything here? There was a setting somewhere. There was a setting somewhere where I had to renew every hour. There we go. So if I change it to 5 minutes, it might be better for testing. So let's go with that. Does that have anything in here? I do not think so. Oh. Xcode just crashed. Okay, hang on a second. That's annoying. Oh, it crashed again. Okay, so let me show you this. It's gone. Okay, hang on. It's open, but it's gone. Okay, so let me just fix this in OBS real quick. What am I doing? We've got display. Oh, yeah. Let me fix this real quick. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's weird. All right. So yeah, if you click, see where my mouse is? I'm not touching it, but subscriptions, it crashes Xcode. Very good, very fun. Love it. Yeah, so what I've done is I've gone back to App Store Connect. I think I can show this on stream. Yeah, let's go with this. And this is the Sandbox account that I created. And then in here, I've just gone edit and I've changed it to monthly renewal every 5 minutes. So I'm hoping that the app will time out sooner and then we can test the store screen again. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is switch over to the sim again real quick because I need to open up my Git client and then just commit some of that code, right? So clean up of subscription screen, or we'll call it the store screen because that's what it is. It may have other stuff on there other than subscriptions. Okay, so I've committed that code. In case anyone wants to know, I am using, let's just switch back here, Git Kraken. That is my Git client of choice. It's pretty good. I'll just minimize. Okay, so we're back in Xcode. So I've cleaned up subscription picker view. I have added 4 new files and moved a lot of this stuff out of there into those files. And now what we're doing really is just kind of waiting for the subscription to expire so that we can test the screen again. And I need to work out what fixed legal bottom text means. Because I did not give myself any extra information on that. Okay, so we're still waiting. I think what it is that I need to add like a few more paragraphs to it, right? So I know that a lot of other. Oh, my dog's having issues. You okay? No? Okay. She's fine. So, where are you going? Okay, I think she wants to come up. So, hang on 1 second. I've already got one dog on my lap. Ugh. Here's another one. Now I've got freaking two. It's pretty late here. It's 1 a.m. So they are usually in bed by this time. Stop, you're bumping the microphone there, boy. I'm just texting my wife back. She sent me a message. And then we'll be back to the code. So just give me 1 second. Hey, boy, stop bumping the microphone. Stop. Now they're licking each other, and I bet that's all you can hear. Okay, it seems like they're done. So, where are we at? We're about half an hour into this one. So what we got next is so the fixed legal bottom text. We're going on about that. I think I need to add a paragraph of stuff. So like when you make a subscription, it goes through Apple and blah, blah, blah. And you can get a refund by doing this. I think I need to put a bunch of that stuff in there. And that requires me to do a little bit of research or steal it from someone else's app. And we're not going to do that right now. We're going to try and keep this a little bit interesting. And the hookup continue button, check if I need to change the title. So what I meant by check if I need to change this title is, should it say continue, or should it say purchase, or should it display the text of the selection you have on this, the subscription screen? I'm just going to keep it as continue and see if it gets rejected. I like having it as continue, so I'm going to delete that little note. Sometimes if I'm going away from a project for a long time, I'll purposely make it not compile with text like this, without it being commented out. And the reason for that is so that I get an error. Other things you can do, if you're the sort of person that hates having warnings in your projects, like myself, what I'll end up doing is just creating a warning here. So you can go the warning message, and here is a note for future me, and then that'll show up in this panel, and I can use this as notes. I don't think Xcode does to-dos. Like it'll bold that text for you, but it doesn't show up over here. So if I build, we don't get the to-do text in this panel. And I know that I think AppCode does that. It'll treat it as like a warning. It would be really nice if we had like warnings, like the yellow symbol, we had errors with the red symbol, and then maybe we had like to do, which was like a, I don't know, orange or green or something like that. A different, or gray, don't know, but it would be useful if we had something like that. Anyway, we don't, so that's why I sometimes use like the warning syntax there, which is kind of cool. It's a nice way to give yourself reminders. There was a lot of those bubbles in that, and it was starting to get a bit ASMR in here, so I muted the microphone for your benefit. Okay. I'm going to try this one more time, see if this subscription has ended. No, it has not. Okay. You know what? That's probably okay. We will continue on, right? So the other things I wanted to do was work out what I could do in the way of ambience. So I need to add a button to this screen. And so what I need, it's a good thing that I've got one with artwork and one without, because I'm going to need to preview this in both formats. So when you've added artwork, so I'll show you here. So when you've added artwork, you've got this panel on the bottom lets you choose like environmental effects on the external screen. When you don't have one, you don't have that selection. So this is good. I can test in both circumstances. And what I want to do is put a button here somewhere that has like add the ambience. And I think I'll have a limit of like 3 you can add. So that way you can add like the sound of crickets, the sound of leaves blowing in the wind, and the sound of open fire. Oh, sorry about that. Come on, boy. Get down. Okay. They're getting very restless tonight. It might almost be time to finish up. But let's do a little bit more work. All we've done now so far is clean up. Let's do some more work, and just we'll get a selection button in there, okay? Off you go. No, don't. You get nothing. You've already eaten. So this screen is the scenes, and this is on the, we've got the header view, which I think has, so we've got the view context. This is so we can set, I think this is so we can set the image. Let me have a look. Change of get image from pasteboard. Yeah. So image button. There we go. Yeah, this is the correct screen. Okay. So I'm back in Xcode. I keep forgetting to switch. I have been streaming for probably like 3 to 4 hours now, so it's getting a bit. So what we're going to do here is at the top we've got the image button. We don't have any previews, so we're not messing with those at the moment. And in order to make them work, I have to set up like the view context and stuff in the preview. Let's not bother with that right now. Let's just start working on adding some buttons. So I'm going to add this underneath the text field that we use to set the title of the scene. And what we are going to do, let's add it underneath the picker, the atmosphere picker. And this will be a H stack because I'm going to have a couple of buttons in here, right? And each one will be produced based on the title will be based on whatever ambience you've chosen. And so when you tap on one of these buttons, it needs to launch a new screen. Now, I'm not completely clear on what the UI is going to be like, so I don't have designs, right? I'm building this as I go. So what we've got here is a button, and we're going action. The action in here will be open ambience picker. So we're going to have a list of those that we can choose from. That list is going to look different than the grid style that we have for the sound effects. This is going to be more almost like looking at a bunch of sounds. So in here in the label, I want to put text, and I do want it to be the name of the, like, whatever the ambience file is. So it's almost like this section of buttons. Now you can't see what I'm showing you here, but like, well, you can't see where my cursor is, sorry, which is annoying because I'm capturing the window, I'm not capturing the cursor, but this is a Mac limitation. Just above this scrolly scrolly bit here, I'm going to put a H stack of buttons, and I want it so that when you click on one of them, it opens up the picker, like we mentioned before. And I think the text should just be the title of the ambience. So like if I say, it should just be like crickets or something, or rainforest, or open fireplace, a campfire, indoor fireplace, something like that. All right. And there'll just be text, and it'll just be like a capsule outline. So if we go back to Xcode, and if I put in, let's go to the text, but I want to set a background on it, right? So the background will be capsule, and we will set the, I think it's the stroke the border, and we'll make it the line. Oh, I keep forgetting that there's this new, you have to hold option, right? And we just set the line width to 1 for now. And I think this will be like the primary color. So this will be like a text color. So on dark mode, it'll be white. On light mode, it'll be black. And the text, to test this out, let's just go with rainforest. Rainforest. That's correct. I'm just going to run this. Oh, I will set up previews a little bit later to make the stream a little bit more efficient. But at the moment, you hit edit, and this is our button here, right? Rainforest. So what? Obviously, there's a little bit of something wrong here. We need to add padding. And so we need to add padding to the H stack, right? So we need padding around the entire button, or the row of buttons we've got. We can add spacing between them using the H stacks spacing. So we can set this to something like, I don't know what the default is. It might be like 10 or something like that. And then of course, we can also add padding to the buttons themselves, right? And that'll keep some spacing between them, but we're not going to do that. But we do need to add padding around this text. So if we just go straight up with padding, and we want to add this before we do the background, okay, before the capsule, because the background will be drawn. The padding, you won't see anything if you put the padding after the background. I'll show you why now, right? So let's do another run, and we open up where we were before, which is over here, and so we got the padding around now. So we need to add padding around the text, and then we draw the background, because that will take into account the padding that we've added. This here, I'll have to highlight it because you cannot see my cursor. I keep forgetting that. But you can see it's kind of like off, right? Like we got it on the left is fine. So there is a bit of a padding from the left edge of the screen, the leading edge, but it feels like the capsule isn't hugging the text correctly. I feel like it's too even around the whole thing. So the padding at the top and bottom probably could be shorter than the padding on the leading and trailing edges of this button. So if we go back, what we can do here is set the padding horizontal. So that's leading and trailing edges, right? So we want that to be as it was, because I think it looked pretty good. Like if we go back, it looks pretty good, right? But I think there was too much above and below the text. So then we add new padding and we say vertical. And I say, let's start with 8 or something, right? And we'll go back to the simulator. And we'll check it out. See, that looks more like a capsule style button that we're used to seeing everywhere, right? Like on the App Store, you see, you know, the buy button and stuff, and it kind of looks like that. And I think that's the way to go. Now we want to set it up so that, because what's going to be playing through this is like ambient sounds, we only really do want to limit it to 3 at most, because I don't want to get into a situation where I need to worry about multiple audio streams breaking, like messing with each other. Like we're not making a digital audio workstation style app. We're mixing a couple of sounds together, and we want to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to go to the extent that like other products have to make this work. So give me 1 second. dog's crying behind me at the moment. He's a little bit distracting. I might have to jump off stream soon. I wanted to get this done first. So if I go back to Xcode, we'll add a few more. Now, ultimately, these will be like a for loop and be backed by a model of some sort, right? So this is just for the display purposes. And so what I've got is, we'll go rainforest. We'll do another one. So we've got some different sizes. So this might be crickets, and this might be open fire, right? Open fire sounds. We'll go again, and we'll see what we've got going on with the same settings. So if I jump back to the sim, go edit. Yeah, and this looks kind of cool. And this works, and we'll have a maximum of 3. And I still haven't decided how I'm going to add or remove these, right? So I think ideally what we would have is like one of these would be, let's go back. One of these would be image, and we would have, let's go system name plus, I can't remember if it's called plus. And then we have our little capsule background. And if I run this and go back, oops, I keep opening. I'm so used to going up to that edit button because I've been working in that area of the apps so much. And here we go. So you can see there's a little bit of a problem here too, because it appears as though it's slightly shorter, right? So because the plus doesn't have the same height as like the capital C or the capital R. And if you've got varying font heights and you've just gone ahead and made, you just gone and used just the text directly, you probably want to try and limit, like put a limit on the height of what it could be. Now, you also need to work out and take into account like accessibility settings too. So if we go to, I think we can change that in. So if I go back to the sim, this is what I'm talking about, accessibility, right? So I think I can change debug features in out. No, where is it? Debug device. No. Okay, so this is something with previews. So I'm just looking at the menu bar for the simulator. I was thinking you can change the font size, but I don't think you can from here. You need to do it in the preview. Increase preferred text size. Oh, hold up. Yeah, you can do it. There you go. And there's a shortcut for it. So it is Option Command plus Option Command minus. So let's do Option Command plus. So you can get a feel for like how the reflowing of your app will work. And this is actually super important. Usually I do this in the previews. I didn't know you could do it in the sim like this. But because a lot of people will increase the text size of their devices the moment they get them. Like that's just, some people just enjoy it bigger. Some people do it for accessibility reasons. Some people should wear glasses, but they don't, and they increase the font size for that reason too. That's just how it is. So, but you can see here, like the height of that plus button is slightly less than the rest of them. And there is something we can do to make that a little bit more consistent, right? So we need to make them all the same height. Now, a little trick to make that happen, right? So one of the ways we can do this is we can just go on our image, we can set the frame, and we can go max height infinity. Okay. And if we do this on all of them, let's just do a quick demo without it again, because what I really want to do is try and work out a way we can make this look more obvious. So let's say we just do a bunch of X's. These are pretty small. And then Crickets has like this capital C. It's like a larger text. So if we go back to the sim, yeah, so it's behaving slightly differently than I thought it would. So both texts, both of these are the correct height, the first two buttons, but the one with the plus is not. So I think that's probably got something to do with the fact that it's an image and not text. So the font, it seems like the font, it doesn't matter with the size, the capitalization or not, which is a good thing. So we've worked that out. Something new to learn and then put into the back of your mind and go, okay, cool. So it doesn't matter so much there. But if we expand like the height of these, which kind of adds a bit of a buffer, like a kind of adds a buffer. So if we go back to the sim and we zoom in, oh, it's still doing it. Hang on a sec. I need to work out. It could be. So the infinity, so setting like the widths and heights of views to infinity will make them, is supposed to make them fill the space, right, that they're in. Because without it, most views, like text views, will squash to just fit their content. Things like the scroll view in SwiftUI will, if you put that in a VStack, it will fill and stretch the VStack. Okay, fill the view. But yeah, other items like text and stuff, images, and that the view will squish down to fill its content. And the kind of downside is that like you don't know what views are going to do that, which is kind of annoying. The most annoying thing about SwiftUI is it's not discoverable. Like the documentation doesn't say like, oh, the text views bounds is going to be squashed to the content. But for a scroll view, it's going to fill it. If it's like, these are the things you need to work out as you're tinkering around with SwiftUI. At least with UIKit, everything was predictable, right, and consistent. Didn't really have any problems doing layouts in that. I got to the point where I was really quick. It was a lot more code though. But I find with SwiftUI, there's a lot more experimentation than there is with UIKit. And so with SwiftUI, we got all these previews and it's supposed to make things faster. And I think the main reason why they did that is because the sheer amount of experimentation you have to do to get anything done, right? Like what I'm doing right now, building and then jumping back to the sim is super slow. And could you imagine doing that thousands of times a day, like just for a little tweak because SwiftUI just wants to mess something up for you, right? You need that immediate feedback in those previews, and that's why they're there. I haven't set them up for this view, but I will when I go offline. But at the moment, the sim works fine. But yeah, if you're trying to like decide with should I learn UIKit or SwiftUI, obviously the obvious answer is you should learn SwiftUI to start with. But if the question instead was which one's easier, UIKit's probably easier. But that's not going to be a thing moving forward from now. I think most new projects are going to be built in SwiftUI from now on. So if you're still just starting out your career in iOS development, I would probably, if you're just starting, I would skip UIKit. Use it only when you need to, like when you need to do a wrapper using SwiftUI and representables and stuff. But stick to SwiftUI when you can. Get yourself that job. You're probably working on some legacy code. You'll be a junior. They'll be fine with it. They'll be like, okay, you don't know UIKit. You know plenty of SwiftUI. That's great. We can, train you up on that or whatever. Like, don't feel like it's a requirement to learn 2 frameworks before you even get started, because that's like a big ask, right? And I think most companies are okay with that. So if we check this out, yeah, so what I'm trying to do here just doesn't appear to be working, right? If we bump up the font, we still got this, it's still smaller. And we need to add padding around that so it matches the height of these. How can I do that? Because it doesn't want to. It wants to stick to the size of the image, and I've tried to set the fixed size. I've tried to set the height to infinity, the max height. Oh, I think I know what I did wrong. So if we go back to the code, so I think what's happening here is because I put, this is what I had before, right? And it wasn't working. I put it after the background. So the thing that I mentioned earlier was that you have to put the padding before you do the background if you want to have padding around the item and then the background around that. Let's see if this works. I kind of feel like maybe not, but let's see. This is what I mean, like it's so much experimentation. It's still doing it. It's still doing it. SwiftUI. So how to get that padding around the image? I think actually I think I know what the, every single time this happens, like I go, oh yeah, this is it, and then we try that and it doesn't work. It's like, oh no, this is it. This is probably it. This is probably it. This is so resizable. Make it resizable because at the moment I think it's a fixed size when it first comes out. So yeah, excellent. So we've kind of got something going on here. It's not quite what we're after. It's filling the space horizontally. So let's go back to the code. Let's drop in, I think we go fit, scale to fit. And I promise I'll set up previews for the next one. Here we go. Look at that. So it's not, so before what it was doing was going off based on the font size of the app, right? And now it's not. So what we could probably try and do this time, I don't know if you saw that. Did I move away too quick? So before, let's just undo that just to make sure I captured that. I'll just pop this open again. Yeah. So as you can see here, it's ignoring the font size in the app. So no matter how much I change it, that plus button stays the same. Seems to change just a slight little bit once it gets to a certain level. And the cool thing with the image type on SwiftUI is that it does respond to font size changes, especially if you like, because you've got the system name stuff in there. So it kind of treats it as text. And the funny thing is what you can actually do is I think you can chuck this. This is a sidetrack, right? The main goal is taking forever to get done, but this is the sidetracking. Look at that. You can put the image inside the text, which is something you can't do in UIKit. If you did this string interpolation thing with UIKit, it will just give you like the description, right? Like it'll give you the description of the view or something. It will print out text basically. So the cool thing, yeah, you can just like embed images inside text, and this should, yeah, it resizes based on the font size. So I've just come up with another clever way of making the plus button resize how I want it to because of this idea. So if I go back to the code, so for some reason this frame max height thing, my old reliable is not working in this situation, which is so unfortunate. So this usually works, and if it doesn't work, a lot of the time I'll go like, oh, fixed size. And it's funny because I've read about this method many times, but it doesn't stick into my head the reason why it works. But I have a new idea for this, right? So based on the fact that this can go inside the text, this image. So let's pull this out here because we don't need it in there, right? What if, like, just hear me out. What if because it's not matching the size of the font to the in the buttons next to it, like the height of the button is not matching the height of the other buttons. What if we just do it this way? Like, hang on a sec. Can't do that. Oh, we got to reuse. Let's reuse this. All this content. All right. We'll run that. Go back to the sim. Oh, look at that. So before it was ever so short, like slight. This plus button was slightly shorter than these other buttons next to it, and now it's like the same height, all because I've put the the image inside a text view. So we'll go back to normal size, and look at that. Like, no matter what font size your user has their device set to, it just kind of works. Yeah. How cool is that? Something that I think could be improved with SwiftUI is that, like, notice that at the larger font sizes, the padding looks wrong. Right? So like the edges of the capsule around these buttons feels too close. And then, you know, when you go to like a normal size, it feels like the spacing around the button is right. It feels correct. I don't know how to make this spacing, the padding, change based on the font size. Right? Like, it'd be great. I've got this set to 8, but even like the horizontal, you would think that maybe Apple would. I guess it could ruin a lot of UIs if you wanted something to be explicit and then it wasn't, but it would be nice if there was a way to have it change based on the font. And I guess you probably could, right? So you could maybe pull out the number, like let's try this. Let's have an experiment, right? So let's say we got font. Let's go font.system. We don't want size. We want the style, right? So whatever style we've got for the text, which is body at the moment, and then we say, can we pull out? Can we get the size of it, right? Because maybe if that changes, we can get the width, font width. No. How do we get the current font size? Because I want to get a number, right? Like a float, an integer, something out of it. And then I can base the padding around that. Like maybe I'll do a multiplication or division or something like that. And then that way the padding looks consistent as the font size changes. It doesn't look like that gives us anything. I think we might have to go with UI font. Oh, this is getting into. All right, we can do it. We can do it. Size. We'll be setting a size. I don't want to set a size. I want to get the size. System font size. Does this value change? This is a float. Let's give it a go. It doesn't seem to, hey. Looks squashed when it's big. I need some more padding. It's interesting. There's a property wrapper that scales with dynamic type. Scaled metric. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, scaled metric. Okay, how do I use that then? Oh, this is gonna be hard to like get feedback in chat because it's not like really write code in there, right? Um, so I need to add. Let me look it up. I'll bring the browser over in a second. Okay, here we go. Let me jump over to Xcode. Here we go. Scaled metric. And what is this? In its most basic usage, you give your property a default value, and scale metric will do the rest. For example, this will draw the same picture at different sizes depending on the user's settings. So how does it know? How does it know how much to scale it by? You give your property a default value. Heck, let's go with that. Let's do it. Let's try it. Let's throw this up here. So we go scale metric, and this will be button padding. And I don't know, let's go 8. Gosh, how did I not know about this one? So that's for vertical. So what? Oh yeah, it does look bigger. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. All right, so I need to do the same for the horizontal number, but that needs to be a different number, right? So, let's call it vertical padding, and I'll do the same for and I think this is going to be larger, right? So let's go like 16 or something and see how that goes. You know, I thought I was quite clever trying to grab it from the font. I thought that was a clever way of doing it. I guess not. Vertical, vertical, vertical. Oh, you missed that entire thing because I was in Xcode. Okay, here we go. I'll go back and show you what I've done. Yeah, this is awesome. Move out of the way with that. That's so perfect. Yeah, that's amazing. All right, well, that's something I need to use basically everywhere. Okay, so this is what I've done. So I put scale. So I put vertical padding. So that's 8 because that's going to be shorter above and below the text in the button, and then I got the horizontal padding set to 16, and that seems to work really, really well. So what I want to do is probably like create a for loop, and then I need to put a limit on how many items are in here, because like what we want to do is only have 3 ambient sounds playing at a time. I don't want to have it set up so that the user can just keep adding music on top of you know, have like 10 different rainforest sounds happening at the same time. That's a bit overkill. So I want to set a limit, and at least then the device won't get slowed down if we're trying to like 50 audio streams at once. So I think we need to adjust. So there's some other things here that are a bit of a problem, right? So we've got this a bit of a spacing above here. I want to try and remove, and then we better double check and make sure it looks okay here. Yeah, so here is another problem. When a piece of artwork hasn't been set, it kind of looks a bit weird when you got these buttons sitting sort of like in this giant area of padding around it. Definitely some UI adjustments that need to be made here. But I'm happy with the idea of putting the option of adding ambient sounds like the rain and crickets and fireplaces and stuff to the scene and not to the entire global campaign, right? It kind of makes sense that when you switch scenes, it has it'll switch the ambience as well. You're going from inside to outside. You're going from into a dungeon. You want it to have like, maybe you want you're in a cave. You want some sort of like echoey sounds. Bats sort of chirping. Bats chirp. They don't chirp. Squeaking. But yeah. So other things too, like I want to fix. Look at the right button, the right dot. I want to fix this edit padding over here too. So I might just do that. That might be a really quick win to finish that up. So if I go back to, I don't know if you can fix your plus button hack with scaled metric as well. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. It already scales anyway. So like, if I set up the image with the system name, it'll scale with the font size already. So like, if I just replace that real quick. Oh, come on. And I'll just jump into here. You know what? I think it actually looks better without the capsule around it. See, it gets bigger. It'll resize anyway. But yeah, for some reason, the little bit of padding above and below was... I think actually now what you're saying is I can use that scaled metric on the padding of in here as well, and that might fix it. But now that I look at... I look at it like this... without the capsule around it, I kind of like this style. I'm gonna go with this for now. So I think I'm gonna put the little hack in the back of my mind for some other time when I might really need to use it. But I kind of like. I think I like this as is for the moment. Let's go with that. It's gonna look weird when there's nothing here. When there's just the one plus button. So in that case, I might add some text in front of it, which would be like add ambience or something. I don't know. I'm not a UI designer. I'm not particularly good with design work in general. I know when something looks wrong. And so when I've worked in companies and stuff, and you know, a designer's come to me and is like, oh, can we do this? Or because maybe it's outrageous for applying to the iOS system in general. I know when to say, oh no, we don't really do that in iOS and stuff. But other than that, it's kind of like, I find it really tricky to do design work myself. And that's probably a big reason why I don't do music anymore either, is because I found it really difficult to write music. Very good at playing other people's songs and memorizing things and just in general practice, but definitely more of a technical person, I think, overall. Anyway, tangent. So let's go back to code. Yeah, so with these buttons, I do want to open up a picker, and I think that might be, what do we got? I've been on for an hour plus the 2 or so hours before on the explanations stream that I did. So I think I'll create a new view. I haven't got any sounds in there yet. So if we go over to the resources, this ambience folder is empty. But what I could probably do, I did grab a couple. So I think hang on, give me a second here. Let me jump back to the sim. I'll see if I've got anything I downloaded from that site. I can just drag in so we got something to work with, right? So here we go. We have, I think I've got like a fireplace. Let's use that. It's 5 megabytes. It's probably, yeah, it's like 2 minutes long. I don't want to use a piece of audio that long, but this will do for now. Let me close Finder. And I'll jump back to Xcode. And so what I've done is I'll just drop this in. I download these from Envato. Like I've got a subscription, and so I'm getting all my sound effects from that. And I think there's like commercial use licenses and stuff where you can use this content. So I think if I hit play, it won't come through, like I said before, it won't come through the Mac. It'll have to come through the microphone, through the Mac speakers, because OBS doesn't have a thing where it can do that. So we got that. That's good. Yeah, cool. And I'll probably shorten that, edit it, do some crossfading, and just have it like maybe 10 seconds long instead of 2 minutes, just to save on space. So what we want to do is when we tap on one of these buttons here, we want to open up another screen and have a list of sounds that we can preview to play, and tap on that will, so we need to have two functionality, right? We need one that's like add, and we need one that when you tap on it, you can hear what it sounds like to preview it. And then when you tap it again, maybe it should stop the sound, because the thing with like AV Foundation, that I think you can have music play in the background and have no way to stop it from playing. Like it will continue if you don't call it to stop, right? So if I just dismiss the screen, it'll keep playing, and then I think there won't be any, like if I pop the screen up, open up again, there'll be no button for me to stop it. It'll just be forever playing. So I'll need to add that in there too, so that on dismiss it'll pause. So what we can do is, I think on the code side of things here, I've got I've got my views. So in here, I've got scenes. It's kind of a part of the scene. But then of course I've got the Apple Music stuff, which is separate again. So I'll keep this in its own folder, because maybe I'll end up presenting it from elsewhere in the app, right? Like I haven't really got my mind set on that. I think it makes sense to have it here, but maybe I'll put it somewhere else. So let's keep it in a separate group. Let's call it ambience, and then I'm going to call it ambience picker view, and SwiftUI. I do it this way. I think other people will usually just go for the SwiftUI template file, and then it's already got like it pre-fills all this stuff, but this is good practice, typing practice. Okay, so I think in here we're definitely going to, it'll be a list, maybe a scroll view. The thing I don't like about lists is that they're pretty hard to customize. I think in this case we might be able to get away with just having them anyway, right? We don't need, the good thing about the list is that it comes with support for like swipe to delete. Things that you would need to replicate if you were using a scroll view with a VStack in it, or a lazy VStack. But we'll go with this for now. We'll give it a go. If I find that I want to change the background color or something like that at some point, I'll have to switch it to something else. But for now, each row will be a separate view, of course, but it will be in a separate file. That's what I meant to say. So it'll be another struct. For the moment, I'm going to throw it in here because it's quicker to develop this way. And I think this is a perfect opportunity to add a preview for this too, because I don't think I need I'm not going to use the core data stuff yet. So this is just a proof of concept type thing, right? And then once I get something showing with like hard-coded values, I can go in and replace it with stuff from my data model. So we've got ambient pick a view, previews, and then we'll just chuck that in there. And canvas is not, there it is. So we can get that running. When this loads up, the stream will stutter sometimes. This is basically got to like run an entire simulator. Okay, so it's not too bad because I did it earlier. Okay, so we got nothing in there. That's why it's like that. And here's the thing. So I went through and I used like Stable Diffusion and stuff to create icons for my sound effects. I think I want to do the same thing for all the ambient sounds too, right? So I think that will kind of add to it. It's not a requirement. It could just be text, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to add a little extra. So I think for each row, I might make these a H stack, right? We'll have an image, and then we'll have text, and then we want it so that when you tap on the row, it'll preview the sound. Maybe there should be a play button on it that previews the sound, but tapping the row selects it and then closes the view. Because it's a picker, right? So like most times when I think of a picker, I think of like a screen pops up, you tap a row and it disappears immediately. And having something that needs to be some sort of preview. The other option is like you tap a row, it plays it, and then puts a check mark there. And then you have a button where you go, okay, save, closes, stops the audio. I think that's how, like when you pick ringtones and stuff on the settings app, I think that's how that works. If you tap the row again, it'll stop. Let's do it that way. Let's do it similar to that. So you tap the row, selects it, plays the sound at the same time, tap it again, stays selected if you wanted to stop it, and it would dismiss it. So I don't think we need anything else for that then. Let's put, these values aren't going to change, so we can say title, and then we can have also the icon. Yeah, which will be a string. We won't make it an image. I've done that before in other apps, but okay, let's go with icon, and we'll go with title. And in here, for demo purposes, I guess we can pick, let's just go with the gate one, I guess. All right, and the title will be, I'll just call it machinery. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Obviously the image is way too large. Just give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, I'll go for a couple more minutes. I want to get this finished. So when we select a row, we'll probably need to pass through a binding. Yeah, I don't want to deal with this just yet. Let's just go with state, and then I'll work out how I'm going to pass that information back, because it might not even be a state, right? So like when I select it, I might wrap this in a button and then have it the action on the button so that it stores my selection inside core data at that point, right? So I might not even have a callback from this to the list that I won't have a callback to the previous screen that was launched. It'll just update because the data store would be updated, and it'll just redraw the screen. Thinking out loud. So for now, what I'll do is just keep it as a state, and that will keep track of which one I've got selected. So obviously I'm going to need a couple more. I think yeah, so what I really want to do is have these on the row view, right? So let's go ambience row, and this will probably make way more sense now. Like, why have you got just a single icon and title here when you've got a list? This will make more sense. It's easy to get distracted and forget what you're doing when you're trying to explain things at the same time. Here we go. So in this list, let's go with sounds. Yeah, let's just go with that. And then what we have in here will be the ambience type. And I think I already have a model object for that. Where are we at? Name, sound, category, encounter, name and icons. The icon is a data type. That should not be the case. It should probably be a string, right? Because I've got the sound effect icon is a string, ambient icon. Yes, okay, so the reason why I did this is because I was going to let people upload their own, but now I'm doing it for them. It's more work, but it also means it's a more unified experience, right? The user has far less to do. It's just going to work. And the sound as well, that doesn't need to be on there because it's going to be embedded within the app. So we don't need that. What we do need though is a string, because we need the file name of it. And then what I'm going to do for these is exactly the same as what I did for the sound effects. So I've got all these lists of sounds, and then I've got a JSON file with all the metadata for those sounds, and it's got, like, you know, the file name in there. So I'll do that the same with the ambience. Yeah, that makes sense. And then when a user selects one for a particular encounter, which is a scene, right? I've mixed the names there, which is the scene. We will have, yeah, see, we got this relationship here. So these will be on an encounter. And we've got, yeah, so this is a one to many, and we're going to have a maximum of 3. So let's go with, we got the name, we got the icon, the file name is important too, and the category. The category, I think, is going to help with search, but I'm not sure what the category is going to be yet. So it might be indoors, might be indoors, outdoors, and that's it. Or I might have indoors, outdoors, dungeons. I might have, the categories might be themed based on a mood. So I might have spooky. I might have sunshine mood, like a big sunny day type thing, and all the sounds that could be associated with that, whatever it may be. That's what the category is for, and that's going to come later. I haven't worked that out yet, but I think it's important that it's there. So what I need to do, the sound is file name. I'll just update these manually, right? Like, I think that's okay. We got a oh yeah. Okay, so the failure isn't with what I've just done then. It's with this file. So oh yeah, the thing is I can't create them using this method either, so that's kind of a bit annoying. I'll need access to the context and stuff. So let's just create a quick one here. And I can replace this later. What we basically want to do is get this UI working first. I don't even know if I got the spelling correct anymore. Oh, no. We need a icon, and we need a title. To give us, we'll go file name. I don't know if we'll use it. when doing the UI, but it's there. Then up here, we can make some ambient sound. And we will do selected sound. And this is probably going to be an optional. Yeah, most likely. And then down here, we can populate the preview with, so we go sounds, which is this array, and then we can create a couple. So let's go with the icon. I think we got gate for one of them. We got machinery as a title, machinery, and this will be. Well, I don't think I'm going to get around to actually producing the sounds tonight, so I'll just put. I'll put this in there anyway because I know I'll forget and I'll be like, oh, why aren't the sounds working? Let's put the file name in there. I think it's MP3. I'll go back and check. This is gonna break for me later. I just know it. Hello, hi mate. Yes, hello. What's going on? Sorry if I'm late to the responding to chat. It's I don't get any sounds or anything when someone types something to me, so it's kind of, I have to fix that. Okay, so we got, what else we got? Another icon. Let's just go with like, yeah, net. Oh, we'll go portal. Portal. Maybe we have an ambient sound of like a portal shimmering, just constant loop. That the sound effect I've got at the moment is a portal opening and then closing. Maybe we want something that's running. These are every time I think of a sound, I have to like write it down and go, okay, now I need to look that up to add it to the app. You can come up with all the really obvious ones, right? Like rainforest or something, or ocean waves and stuff, or fireplaces. But when you come up with one that's like not so obvious, you gotta write it down. This is messy, but that's okay. We'll just go with what we've got so far. Do a build because I'm not seeing the errors. Here we go. So up here we've got the list, and I'm gonna have to make this thing identifiable, and I'll just do it this way real quick. So we go ID string, and we'll just go reply. Oh, return. What am I doing? Return. Did I see the word reply somewhere? Return the file name. Yeah, so the file names we know should be unique, but it's possible the titles won't be. What am I doing? Oh, that's why that wasn't working. All right, so let's fix this. So in the list we have our sounds, and we got sound in, and then we can just go sound.icon, sound.title, and this will give us, I think this will work. Let me just fix up that alignment. You are correct. It is spelled. I mentioned that before. I said, oh, I think I'm getting this wrong. Ambience. Oh, look, it's everywhere. Do I really have to go and fix it? Okay, hang on. Okay, so you ruined it for me now. Okay, where is it? Where are we going? Yes. Did I spell it incorrectly in the code? No, I did it. I have done it correct before in the past, so I'm not a complete idiot. Okay, so I got that right. Okay, so okay, let's do a refresh of this. It did crash before, so All right. This happens when this always happens when I forget like if you don't pass through an environment variable or something, you'll get this crash and it won't tell you that that was the problem. Like there's something wrong with the preview, right? The way I've set this up, I think that's the issue. Because if I run, because generally, like if you run it and it works in the simulator but it doesn't work in the previews, oh, excellent. Okay, this is good. There's persistence control. Yeah, yeah. So this is something wrong. The reason why this is crashing is because there's something wrong with the environment, the environment variables, and that's the same in this case, kind of. So the reason for this is because I made changes to this object, and core data is upset about that. Option Command F to find and replace. Yeah, I could have done that. Campaign manager object class renaming identifier. Oh, this is one of those things where I probably have to. What have I got? Category, file name, icon, name. They're all strings. Counter. Do I need to? It's not the order that I haven't messed them up, have I? It's got nothing to do with the order of things, surely. I might just redo this file, right? This makes no sense what I'm doing right now. I know that. So there is an issue. I think it's to do with, I might have to delete the app because I've messed up the data, right? So I probably have to delete the app and redo it. No, I like your learning spirit and how you explain the error. Make me want to learn Swift too. Yeah. So, what are you? Are you a programmer at all, or already? What languages? If so, what languages do you know already? Yeah, Swift is pretty good. Swift is fun. It's a lot better than it used to be. That's for sure. Yeah, look at this. Oh, okay. So I deleted the app. I reran it again. Like I deleted it from the simulator, and then I rebuilt and run it, and now it's working. And I have all my data still there because I think it's because it's synced to iCloud. But the weird thing is, I was like, oh, why is it working then? Because it should not be working. It should have troubles pulling the information of iCloud if because I went and changed all that stuff, but I haven't used any of it yet, and I'm going to be anyway. None of the ambient loop stuff. This thing here is in iCloud yet. I don't think because I haven't used it yet, and I think that's why the sync thing did not fail. Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, oh my god, my code works. I don't know why it works, and that's just as bad as not knowing why, like when it doesn't work. It's always good to try and understand why things are working so that when they don't, you know how to fix them. But yeah, so deleting the app, reinstalling and running again fixed that issue because, and the reason why I had that issue is just to recap, is because I made changes to the core data model and it wasn't happy with that. And the one that was installed, that was part of the app, it was inconsistent. It's like a database migration thing. I think that's what the problem is. I'm not an expert on that stuff though, so next we've got where are we going? Let's remove all that. We got to get back on track to where we were before. These side quests are just the most annoying thing. It's like when you go to fix something in your house, like freaking a light bulb, a doorknob or something, and then you find out that the tool that you need to fix it is broken, so you got to go to the shop. It's like that scene from Malcolm in the Middle, right? Yeah, that's the one. Okay. Oh yeah, this is what we were doing. We were, I think we were testing this. Okay, yeah, we can't. That's right. I keep forgetting. We're trying to get the previews to work. They should work. I might need to. So here's the thing. I think now what I need to do is reset the sim and Xcode, because that's a different process than the sim that's sitting outside it, right? So I'm going to keep getting this crash for the same reason why I got the crash on the sim. So I need to. Does this have a thing that lets me oh, how do you think will a clean work? Will a clean make me rebuild everything again? Yeah, Malcolm Middle, that's it. Don't tell me I gotta close Xcode. Damn previews. What about a reopen? Okay, so maybe we'll both all learn something new here. I'm just opening up web browser. Let's see how I can restart Xcode previews. Okay, got it. Okay, I think we need to go to let's pop this open. So we've got, it's not the clean build. You have to go in and delete stuff from the previews on the Mac, right? So there's a location. Let's have a look. Oh, I know what we can do. Let's just select another. Yeah, select another sim. No, come on. It did the same thing again. I was like, oh, that's been a neat little trick. What is going on? So what we got? Yeah, it's the same. It's the same persistent thing. I picked another sim. I thought that was gonna work. Maybe because I've already run the app on this one as well. So let's pick one I haven't done yet. Let's go the iPad Air sim. Let's try that. I don't think I've run this app on that yet. There isn't a preview available for that. Again, the video might get choppy. Yeah. Okay. Hey, it works. Okay, so if that happens to you in the future, you those errors, just switch the sim. Okay. So we have, why are they both the same? They should not be the same. The icon is different. What have I done wrong here? The title, let's change the title of this to, they're both the same. Ambient sound. I've done something weird here. Check this out. So we've got, these are both different, but they're showing up duplicated in my view. This is supposed to be, this should be the easiest thing to do. I'm making a list with an image and some text and I'm failing at it. This is like the first thing you learn to do with SwiftUI. What is going on? Why is this showing? Hang on. What am I doing wrong? What the heck? Resizable. Fit. I am at a complete loss as to why this isn't working now. I got gate and portal are different icons. Machinery, portal. The sound files are similar. Sound, list sounds. All these are being populated through the preview provider. I'm showing multiple the same. And what we need to do is change. Yeah, so I'm just jumping ahead a little bit, thinking maybe it'll wake it up or something and make this work. But yeah, it's not happening for me right now. The selected sound, because it's an optional, we need to do a little bit more work here. Oh, it needs to be equatable. That's the problem. So let's go with, I think everything on there should just happen automatically. Yeah, cool. Let's remove that. So we've got, yeah, this is really strange because these are completely different. If I do a refresh here, I've set up the preview data to be two different items and they're not coming through as two different. And I haven't hard-coded these values elsewhere. I didn't think I have. There's only one place where it exists. Is this a bug? Have I done something really stupid? Here we can do a clip shape as well. We can add a rounded rectangle and then corner radius and set that to like, I don't know, 10. And that puts little rounded edges on those icons, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I'm at a complete loss as to why this isn't working. So, whoa, hold up. Have I got the array set up wrong? Look at this. Changing the value of this one does nothing. Removing it removes it. What is going on? What the heck? What is going on here? So, hang on. If I remove that, that goes. Put it on top. Comma. Now they're both that. Is this one of those situations where I have to like restart Xcode and then it'll work? Like maybe I've confused it somehow with the crash that was happening with the, you know what, it doesn't matter. We've got an idea here. The reason why I wanted two was so that I could test selecting each one anyway. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Let's put a spacer. So the next step, yeah, so the next step is, let's go spacer. Because what we want to do after that is add like a check mark. So we go image, system name, and it is check mark. Yes, there we go. And I don't think I need to do anything else special with that. I don't need to make it resizable. But what I do need to do is wrap it. So we go if is selected, we display it. Yeah. And at the moment it is set, well, there's nothing there. We don't need to actually pre-fill that. I was going to set it to false, but I just realized we don't need to do that. So this will be based on whatever the selected sound is. And so what we can do now is I can do this with a button. And we can add that row as the label. And so one of the cool things we get here is like, because it's a list, it's still going to behave. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes if you put a button in a list, each row is kind of a button already. And so like you're kind of doubling up on some sort of functionality there when you do that. But generally, like, so let me, it doesn't matter. Let's keep moving forward. So something, a way around like setting these, see how that's like the text is purple now. So what we can do is we can just go button style to plain, and that will remove that colors there. And now you've got like see how, yeah, so it kind of intercepts what the list row selection was going to do for you. And now if I zoom in, you'll be able to see this, and I tap, you tap on it. The weird thing is both rows are lighting up. They shouldn't be. But you can see that the kind of like the opacity changes because now it's a button. It's not going to give us the interaction that we have with a row, which is kind of annoying, right? So now if I go with, I wonder if I worked it out. It's not a bug, it's my fault. If I use the exact same file name, because I'm using the file name as the ID. So that's why we got double ups, okay? I'm using this, so SwiftUI is very particular about IDs. Okay, so I think maybe we can get around this if we were to set like an ID on the view that's different, but it's using that file name. At the moment, I've set them both to be exactly the same. So if I reduce this to, you see that? So like, if I make this file name unique, then we get the two different views. Okay, so I've worked it out. So what happens now is when we select, only one of them is highlighting, so it's all working correctly now. Yeah, but each view gets its own ID, and this is how the views know which ones to update, and it lets you hide a lot of the implementation behind the scenes, right? Like it's the same as like I can't really explain it, but so what we'll do here is we'll select the sound equals sound. It helps with knowing what part of the view to update and then which ones to leave alone, I guess, right? And generally it also, like when you're doing this with a table view in UIKit, you need to keep track of like the index paths. When someone taps on a row in UIKit, it's like did select index path, and then you need to manually handle all that kind of stuff. In this, you kind of don't really have to. Like the indexes are sort of like hidden behind the scenes a little bit, and then you can do like you just set. You don't need to go through the array and do like selected sound equals sounds and then add your little index path dot row thing like you used to have to do in UIKit, right? All that's gone because you get access to here immediately, and the only reason why this works is because we've got those identifiers. Yes. I think I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. List sounds, yeah. So you could do it that way too. Yeah, you can just set the ID key path as a list parameter. Yeah. I'll do that most of the time if I don't have access to like the underlying code of that objects. So like if I'm pulling in like a SDK or something, and I want to use something that doesn't conform to identifiable, you can just do that straight up. It's much easier to do prototyping. So what he's talking about is you can add this parameter, and then you can go like backslash dot will give you access to the key paths on this sound. So at the moment we've got ambient sound. These are the properties we have on there, and backslash dot gives you access to those properties essentially, right? It's like it's a reference to that property. So it doesn't have the value in there. It's telling the list that that's where you're pulling the ID from. You want it to look up that property to use that as the ID. So yeah, we can use the your ambient sound is NS. Don't they have core data unidentified? Yes, and I think originally. Oh yeah, so in the chat we've got, yeah, your ambient sound is an NSManage object, right? Don't they have core data's own identifier? Yes, but I think core data's identifier is. That reminds me of some of the issues I was having with using core data with SwiftUI. I think I had some problems around with the ID. I think it's because can be option. Is it the ID that can be optional? Is there something about that that was messing me up a little bit? Let me go back to. Let's just have a quick look at what's it called? The sound effects picker view. What have I got over here? So this is what I worked on before. I've got the lazy V grid set up. It's a scroll view, item value, ID, file name. I don't think there's an example here of what I was about to say. There was something to the effect of this is not the core data one. The one I want to look up is oh, never mind. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to take me a while to decipher this again. It's been a long time since I've been working on it. But I've got two different settings. Obviously, I need to present these sound effects, pull off the information I have in the app to display them, and they're not part of the core data model at that point, right? They're optional they're the options to display to the user for them to then add them to iCloud, the core data, and then after that point, that's when I start using them, and that's when they are displayed in the other view, which is where is it? We've got the picker view. So that's what I was just talking about before, and then we've got the scenes. I think the campaign compact campaign detail view, scene list. Scene row, no. So this is actually another point that probably worth mentioning anyway that we're here. This is another tangent. But to use, this is a little trick you need to do in order to use the, that's it. So in the core data, you don't have arrays, right? You have a set. Is that correct? I think that's how it's set up, right? So you've got, so let's go and counter. Yeah, so you don't actually an array is not an object you can use on core data from what I remember. And so there's a workaround with that. So you can't just like grab your core data objects and then just throw them into a list and use them directly. There's like issues around doing that. So what you need to do is convert it to an array. And the way to do that, I've just gone through and you go to the set of encounters, which is a set, and then I go sorted, and then I wrap it in an array. But by doing things this way, I think you lose a lot of the state stuff with this. So like if I wanted to make changes to encounter in here, like if I wanted to go encounter and the name equals, I don't know, something else, that's not going to propagate back to core data because it's been converted. Like there's no direct link there anymore between the two. And then you have to save it, or you have to go context and save it again, or have it overwrite whatever one was there. Whereas if you could use it directly, and I've done that with other properties, like I think what you can do is you can go campaign name, because I'm manipulating like a core data object directly. I think then it'll propagate back and work. I'm not entirely sure. We would need to experiment to make that happen. But all that is to say, it's a long way to say that there are still issues that need to be sorted out with SwiftUI and core data, because they're kind of at odds together in some areas, right? They made it super simple to use it, because like essentially, like all I've had to do is like two lines of code, right? And I've got a full core database backing. I've got iCloud syncing happen, all with like these 2 lines. So it's pretty powerful in that sense that there's pretty much no boilerplate code left for you to have to write. But there are some sort of edge cases where you need to break a couple of things to make it work properly, depending on your situation. I kind of want to get back to where we were before now. So we've got not the sound effects picker. Where were we? We were looking at the ambient stuff. Yeah. I'm going to push that button. Sorry, you probably won't be able to read that text too well. I'll zoom in just a little bit. No, because we need to be able to see the end of the row there. Now, we want it so that when you tap on one, yeah, so it shows the tick, right? Tap on the next, that tick lights up too, right? So now there's something broken here, right? Obviously, we want the whole row to do that pulse thing that it was doing before. And at the moment, it only works when you tap on the text here or the image. It doesn't work if you tap like in this space. So that's kind of annoying, right? So we need to fix that. I think if we get rid of the button style from plain, we've got this set up. So that works, the whole row works. And I think we'll go with that. And what we'll need to do, instead of having this, because I don't want the purple text, I just want black text, right? So I think we can change it in here. Let me clean this up and move that out of the way. And I'm just going to go primary. And SwiftUI will conform to the rule that I've set in place now that foreground color is now the primary. And I'll keep the check mark as purple. And so now, yeah, we can select between the two of them. This screen will probably need to have some sort of like a header with a save button. Because we want to tap on this and we want to play the sound at the same time. So we go selected sound equals sound, and then we want to kick off like an audio player of some sort, right? So to do that, I'm just going to steal code from the other area of my app, which is in the, where are we going? Sound effects picker view. I need to remove this canvas now. It's kind of getting in the way. So let's go with, I just want to keep checking the messages, make sure I haven't missed any. Okay, so we've got the picker tiles. We got a sound effects player here, so that's how that works. So I've got I created a singleton to play my sound effects. And I think the reason why I did that is so that, because you have the option to play them from anywhere, right? So let's open this up again. Let's have a little quick play around. I want to be able to play sounds from tapping on the sound effects here. And then obviously when you go to the picker, you want to be able to play them from here as well. Don't mind the layout of these, but I've got to fix the buttons here, I think. Yeah, I think I was developing with a text of that size. I need to correct for that, but that's okay. That's for later. And there's this, why aren't you using list sound selection, selected sound initializer? You don't have to put selection behind an explicit button tap. Well, okay, yes, okay. Why aren't you using list sound selection? Yeah, you won't have to put selection behind an explicit button tap. So the reason for this is because I want to play the sound as well, and I guess I could listen to a change, couldn't I? So I could do exactly what you're saying. So what you're saying is I could remove this, drop this in, and then what do we got? Selection. And then we go selected sound, right? And then, oh, you can't see that. So here we go. So this is what I've just changed. So ambient sound has to, hashable. Yeah, that should all work fine because it's strings. Strings are naturally hashable. Okay, so and then if we run this, no, stop. Go back to the app. Oh, we can't do that. We haven't even presented it yet. Let's go back to the canvas. Let's go. Let's see if I can run this again. I'm trying it on the on the previous version. No. Okay. So let's go back to Xcode. iPad Air. Let's run this. Okay. So yeah, what you're saying is, well, I don't know. That doesn't seem to be working for me now. The selection thing. I think, yeah, I know what you've said here will work. I just probably haven't got it set up correctly. But the reason why I'm not doing it this way is because, yeah, I want to capture that event on the button tap. Like I want to do stuff when that happens, and I know you can make that happen by like listening to the state, the state change. So I can just go like on change of selected sound, and then I can play the sound from in this portion of code. That's fine. I could do it that way, I guess. I don't know. This is the way I've always done it, and when I just tried to do it the other way, it didn't work, and I don't really feel like troubleshooting that right now. So, but we'll go with this. But yes, that's a very good point. There are multiple ways of doing essentially the same thing. Right. This will. What we need to do is open. Let's change the name of that to that's incorrectly spelled. I didn't just break it again, did I? Yeah, that'll be fixed. Okay, don't worry about that. So I need to launch this picker view now when I tap on one of those buttons on the scene screen. So let's do that so that I can actually run this in the simulator, which is on the scene header view. Yeah, this is it here. So this is the buttons that we're messing with earlier. And then in here, yeah, we want to open up the ambience picker, right? And then in here, I'll put, well, here's the thing. What I'll do is I'll set a state for it for now, and then I'll come back and work out what I really want to do with it, right? So this will be show ambience picker. Set that to false. And then obviously this is duplicated code, but that's fine for now. We just want to, this is just for experimenting. And the plus button, we'll do the same for plus button, and we'll just toggle these. You can set them to true, that's fine, but we'll just hit the toggle on that. And then what we can do is add a new sheet. Yes, and then is presented, we'll just go with show ambience picker, and then in here we go ambience. I think, what have I got here? Did I call it something else? That's correct. Excellent. Now, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so the sounds, so this is, I'm going to borrow this from the previews. I'm just going to grab one of, I'll grab both of them. We'll pass these through. Obviously, these will be pulled from, I'm going to create a model object for these so that I can get this list of items. But for now, this is just so we can get this running in the simulator. Because I really want to test like opening this screen and see what it looks like. It's going to look a little bit different than in the previews because it's not going to be full screen, right? I need to switch back to the other sim that I've got set up in OBS. So we'll pop this open. There we go. So if we tap one of these buttons now, our screen will open up and we have all our options to choose from. So we can tap on the portal, tap on machinery, we can choose between the two. Great. Now what we want to do is play some sounds, and then I'll go back and we do some cleanup. So what have we got? We're going to go and borrow the code from, so we go back here. I've got my sound effects player. So yeah, so this is what I've been using. I think I might be able to get away with reusing this. So I'm definitely going to have to create another class similar to this one, or one that's more like generalized, right? So instead of calling it sound effects player, I might just call it the sound player, and then I'll have the music one separate, because they're going to use different systems, right? The music uses a separate one because it needs to, I need to be able to control it from like the control panel, right? So when the app is closed, I kind of want those controls to come through onto the lock screen of the device for the music. So that's using a different system to this. The sound effects will be like these one-shot sounds, and I think the ambience will probably end up using a similar code to this as well. So what I've got here at the moment is I do have code available to allow stacking the sounds, so that if you repeatedly tap a sound effect, it'll play over itself. But at the moment I've got it so that if you tap it, it stops it. Just for testing, because some of the sound effects are a little bit long and I'm trying to keep that short. But once the production version of the app goes out, you'll be able to stack the sound effects and just spam them for extra noise and stuff like that, right? So the other thing, where are we at now? Yeah, so I think we've got these we've got the players, there's multiple players set up. play stop sound effects file name. There is no checking done to see if the file is a sound effect. So I'm just going to reuse the sound effects player to play the ambient stuff. I'll need to implement loops and stuff and things like that. I may end up just copy pasting this entire class and then just renaming it ambience and then having them separate. We'll see. I might have the same one, like I said before, but with different maybe functions, depending on whether we're playing ambience or sound effects. I am losing my voice. So yeah, we'll just reuse sound effects player. So that's super easy to do. And what I'll do is I'll jump onto the picker view and I'll do it in here. Yeah, you can still see XO, great. And when this is tapped, sound effects player, shared, play stop sound effects file name, which will be sound.file name. Now I need to get the proper file name so this works. And then what I would like to do is stop the sound effect so it'll stop when they tap it again, which is exactly what we want, because this is a play stop function. And then, but then we want it to stop if something's playing. Sound effects player, shared. So I don't have a function for pause, stop, or anything like that. So I'll need to create one of those. I think that'll be useful to have anyway, even outside of just this, rough code that we've thrown together. And I think it's important that we put in I could do the check. I could do the check in the UI as well. And instead of adding another function, I could say if the player with this sound effect is playing, let's stop. What have we got here? Why access sound effects player share directly when you can access it as environment object instead? Yeah, so that I can do that too. Absolutely. So I can put so this. Okay, so just some context around this app. It already exists on the store, right? Like I've already released it under the name Game Master Scenes, and I built this maybe a year or two ago. And that's before I actually started using like environment objects and stuff everywhere. But yeah, in current apps and my current projects with other clients and stuff, I use in SwiftUI, I use environment variables now, and just so we're clear on what that is for anyone else watching. What you could do is, so you can see I've got a couple here already. Environment object, Apple Music API, external display content. I've got the environment object, which is also my persistence container for my core data stuff. But yeah, absolutely, I could put in an environment and then have environment object, and then just immediately, I can just actually chuck it in straight now. I can just go like sound effects player. Like that would work, right? Like that's exactly all I would need to do. Unless I've privated the init. No, that seems to be fine. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I could, it's all out already. Yeah, so there is a version of this out. It's free. You can look it up and have a play around with you want. But I'm updating it. I'm making it better. I'm adding sound effects. The previous version does not have sound effects. The current version that's on the App Store does not have sound effects. And that's what I'm adding in this one. And I'm adding subscription and stuff to unlock like the extra stuff. So yeah, go have a play with it if you want. It's called Game Master Scenes. Sorry. But yeah, you can add the environment object here. And then what you can do is you can access this So if I go to the root view here, what have I got? Campaign. And you can access it using something like this sort of format, right? This is the view context. This is for the core data stuff. And then it kind of ends up being sort of like a singleton in a way, because it's always available in all your views. And you only have to pass it through once, and I can access it from anywhere that I put this. Now, there is a restriction on this though. I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but the environment variables do not work with navigation links. At least they do not work for me. I could be doing them wrong, but I have to specify, like, to me, the environment variables are supposed to be this thing where you set them once. You can set them at the root of the app. You can set them at the start of a different flow or whatever, and they should be accessible throughout the rest of that flow, throughout all the other views underneath it. But they don't do it in navigation links. You have to write this again on those. Wherever you have a navigation link, you have to put this environment object syntax there in order for it to be passed along to the next screen that's being navigated to. I think I could be getting that confused either with the navigation links or with the navigation view. Like if you have multiple navigation views in the app and you launch a new one, it's almost like it's a separate environment altogether. I think that might be a bug, or I'm doing it wrong. But anyway, let's not worry about that. Anyway, but I will come back and change the sound effects player to environment object later. That's actually absolutely a good point and something I should write down and fix. Cool. But in the meantime, just going to go with, I know it used to be broken on modal sheet presentations a couple of years ago. I don't know if it still is. Yeah. Okay, so it's happened to you too. Yeah. It could be still broken on modals. Last time I ran into this issue was probably like 2 months ago that I was fiddling around with it, and I got kind of like annoyed that it wasn't working, and I did some Googling and they were talking about navigation links. I didn't see anything on the modals though. Experiment. But this is the thing, like this is the downside to like SwiftUI for newcomers, right? There's so many little things that you need to know. You have to make the mistakes in order to, like, it's not something you just read in a book on SwiftUI. Like no one talks about it. You have to discover the issues yourself. It's kind of like probably how programming used to be way back in the early days. Just trial and error. SwiftUI is it's trial and error. If I had 3 words to sum it up, that's exactly what it is. Give me 1 second. I just got some messages I need to read. Okay. I want to stop. Yeah, so I'm going to write this stop function. I'm going to pass in, because it's going to get annoying, right? Like it's going to be hard to test if we can't stop the music, because you just be able to keep playing it over and over again on top. Like you dismiss this, you dismiss this screen and the sound ambience will just keep playing, and that's just annoying. So let's sort that out right this second. So the way this will work now, I don't want to stop any other sound effects or sounds that are happening. This should only stop the sound that you pass through. So I've already got code down here that does this, right? So like if let player, so we can copy this and we'll clean this up later, right? We go if player sound effects file name, great. If it's not playing, we play. No, we don't want to do that. We want to set this up so that we just, all we want to do is just call stop on it, right? That's so simple. If I'm only using this in one place as well, so we can actually replace this. So the thing is, I've got multiple thoughts in my head at the moment, and I'm trying to get them all out at the same time. So if I'm only using this in one place in the app, I could probably just move this code to there, like this check, right? I can do like sound effects player dot shared dot players, and then put the file name there, and then do this check, say in the SwiftUI view. But we'll leave it here because what we can do is we will reuse it down here. I don't know. We won't need to. I don't think. It just seems like, yeah, probably a bit overkill. I was thinking maybe we can throw this function down in here, but it doesn't matter. And then we're doing a check for no reason. Anyway, that's just a stupid brain thing from me. Let's just go with what we've got here. We go stop. Let's go back. Where we go? Then on disappear, we go stop. And the file name, we don't have access to it because we are now outside this list. But what we could do is pull it from the selected sound if it exists, right? So now we've got an option we're going to deal with. So what I want to do is handle that over here. And then in here, we can just do our guard. I think, can we do this now? Can we do guards now? We can go guard let file name else. Does it work with guards or only if statements? Let's try. Guard let sound. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Yep. Okay. So yeah, previously you had to go like, you had to like unwrap it in a way, right? Like that's what you would do. But now in latest versions of Swift, you can just go guard let file name and it just does it, which is cool. Okay. So this means we can play and we can stop sounds. And I think if we run the app, hopefully it works. Oh, we haven't got the correct file name set up, so let's do that now. Let me just check this in Finder for a sec. Yep, and then we go. Okay. One of these should be working. Cannot find file. That's fine. Cannot find. What am I doing wrong here? I think it might have something to do with the spaces in there, right? And have I got this added to the, yeah. All right. No factory registered for ID. What is this? Could not find fireplace with not ambient. What's going on? All right, I'll pick something that actually I know works, right? So, oh, hold up. I'm doing the wrong one, right? I'm in previews. That's the issue. So let's go to where I'm calling this. Oh no, that's not the right one. How do you do this thing again? Where's the whole thing where it's like, hey, go to... All right, whatever. I'll find it manually. I can't remember the name of the file that was in just before to make this work. So it is in the scene header view. There we go. Yeah, so the reason is because I haven't set this up properly, I don't think. Let's try this. Could not find file. Sound effects picker, sound effects player. Oh yeah, over here. Am I doing anything special of type MP3? Could not find file. Interesting, it's not working. I'm not doing anything weird with the string when I get it. That's okay, so what I will do instead, just so we got something working here, right? So let's just go with the sound effects we have. I'll work out what I've done wrong with that before. I think I'm just going to use the sound effects I know that work. Could not find it. What is going on? Is it this that's throwing it off? The file path. So if that's the case, let's test again with, let's go tension. Yeah, let's try that one. So I'll do it without the file extension on there and see how that goes. Yeah, okay, cool. Hey, it's working. I don't know if you can hear that. So that's the fireplace. And then this is the tension sound. Now, the problem with this is it doesn't stop the other one from playing. But if I tap it again, it does. So what we need to do is when we select the other one, this is where it's going to get complex, right? When it changes, where are we? Ambient picker view up here. Okay. So what we need to do is when you select a different row, it'll stop the music as the sound running as well. And I think we need to keep track of the previous. We need to do it in a clean way, right? Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, okay, so yeah, the plan is to now, when you tap another item in the row, you need to stop the sound playing from the previous one. And so I think the way I've got the sound effects set up doesn't really allow for that, because we've got the layering happening and we need that for sound effects. And the layering works with ambience, but we only have a maximum of 3 when we want to allow people to do. So I think what I need to really do to get this working is to create a new sound effects player class, but do it for ambience, and then have it set up so that I've got functions for previewing properly. Because at the moment, like the way this is set up is we've got this dictionary, right? And it stores these audio players, and we create a new one for each sound effect. And that allows us to do that layering effect when you want to tap different sound effects and have them all playing over top of each other. And that works well in that situation. But when we're previewing ambient sounds and we've got the UI setup that we do here, that kind of falls apart. So I think, yeah, what I need to do is build another version of this that's purely for playing back ambient sounds, that has its own players sort of dictionary. You know, it has a maximum of 3 that can be in there at any one time, and keeps track of only allowing, like if it's in preview mode. This is something I need to work out, I think. It might take me a little bit to wrap my head around what I need to do for this. It's not overly complex, but I want to do it right, and I don't want to do it in a messy way. But I think everything we've gone through already, like we've kind of evaluated that this works. So if I go back to the sim, right, we haven't got anything set up yet where it will update these button titles or anything like that. So which will involve core data, CloudKit, all that sort of stuff. That's coming later. We just wanted to evaluate that putting the buttons here is okay. Tapping them presents the ambience picker, which is great. And then tapping on a row lets us preview what that is. And the feel of this is okay to me. I might like restyle the buttons a little bit. This screen probably needs a header on it. But I'm quite happy with where we're at. So dismissing turns off the sound, right? Switching plays them together. There's another point to be made here as well, right? This could also be a feature in itself, I guess, because maybe you want to see what multiple ambient sounds are like together, which is kind of interesting. That's something else I need to think about too, right? Like maybe that's interesting. So maybe this should all be under one button, and you open it and then you have multiple check marks, right? You can only pick, you can check mark up to 3 items, and then when you open up this screen, they'll play. You can get a feel for what it's like. You know, you might have crickets, you might have a forest sound, and you might have a fireplace all at the one time, and they'll be on a loop. Because if you're stacking these together, you want to be able to preview them all together. So I think actually this is kind of a nice mistake that I've made, where it's giving me an idea to progress further with that. And then, yeah, we can just have the single button, which opens that up, which gives you the list of items to choose from. And I think, I kind of think I'm kind of happy with that. And then what will happen is when you hit play on this, it'll play the music, it'll play the background ambience as well. Also, if you don't have music tracks set up, maybe you don't want music in a particular scene, hitting play will then play those ambient sounds anyway, right? So, and then you can play your sound effects over the top of that. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's good, and I think it's really getting late for me, so I'm gonna finish up this stream now. We've got 2.5 hours in. I feel like I got through a lot less than if I had just been doing it alone, but I think talking stuff out loud as well has also helped come up with new ideas that I wouldn't have otherwise. And obviously the feedback in chat has been really, really good and helpful. So thank you for that. And I don't know how often I'm going to be doing this. It'll probably, when I do it next, it'll probably be around the same time. I will try and do it a few times a week, at least while I'm on break. When I go back to work, that might change. Hopefully, if I ever get to work full time on this sort of stuff, I'll be streaming multiple times a week. The development process, and also I stream. At the moment, I'm playing. At the moment, I'm playing XCOM Terror from the Deep. So I've got a video, a stream for that I've done recently as well, and that's been really fun. So I'm switching between sort of like games and development now on this channel. But I think that's it. I need to go get myself a drink and something to eat and just relax a little bit. I've been talking for hours and hours. And the first whole hour was me talking to nobody because I didn't hit the publish stream button, so that was great. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll leave it at that. I'll come back next time and I will clean all this stuff up that we've done, that we've experimented with, and actually like really get stuck into programming, like getting through it as quickly as possible, maybe not as much explanation going on. And then I'll like monitor the chat for questions and stuff more. But this is an ongoing thing. This is something that need practice with. Yeah, so that was good stream. Excellent, thank you. Good Sunday evening entertainment. It's good to see more iOS live coding. Excellent. Well, I'll continue doing more of it. I'll try and actually set up proper schedules as well. I'll be like, 5 hours from now, I feel like I might stream, so I will set it to like 10 p.m. or something like that, and then at least people will know that it's available, and you can jump on if you're available to watch or not. So that's it for this. Well, next time. See ya.